Notice a lot of them are slightly ajar, and that's because that's there's no more mummies in them. Someone pushed it aside and took out the contents at some point in antiquity.
While most archaeological discoveries date back hundreds or even thousands of years, there have been some incredible finds in recent times too. So, from ancient workshops just being discovered to some of the oldest artworks ever, here are 20 recent archaeological discoveries that will shock you. 1. Neanderthal wall art in France. The discovery of ancient wall art made by Neanderthals at the La Roche-Cotard cave in France has changed how we see these early humans. The engravings on the cave walls are over 57,000 years old, making them the oldest Neanderthal art found in Europe. What's even more amazing is that they were created long before modern humans arrived in the area, which experts think happened around 40,000 to 45,000 years ago. This suggests that these engravings were purely a Neanderthal creation, untouched by Homo sapiens' influence. These markings weren't just random scratches either. Neanderthals used their fingers to press and drag lines into the soft clay covering the cave's chalk walls. They even used tools like flint, antler, and wood to make some of these designs. The engravings include a mix of shapes, dots, circles, triangles, wavy lines, laid out in organized patterns across the walls. One panel, for instance, has over 100 dots, while others show parallel lines or a fan-like shape. This thought-out arrangement hints at a level of planning and purpose behind their art. There's solid evidence that this art was made by Neanderthals. The cave got sealed up by sediment around 57,000 years ago, keeping it hidden until recently. This timeline means only Neanderthals could have created these engravings. Also, researchers found Mousterian stone tools in the cave, which were commonly used by Neanderthals, confirming their presence. Plus, dating tests on the sediment layers around the cave's closure line, up with the idea that no other human species would have been around at that time. These findings add to the growing belief that Neanderthals were more complex than we used to think. They weren't just making tools and surviving, they were expressing themselves artistically too. This organized, intentional artwork suggests Neanderthals had a level of creativity and thinking ability that's closer to modern humans than we once assumed. Want to find out more about recent archaeological discoveries? Like this video and subscribe to our channel for more videos just like this. We've got a lot more where that came from. 2. Ancient tomb in Saqqara. The ancient tombs at Saqqara, a burial ground about 19-20 miles south of Cairo, Egypt, are like a time capsule of ancient Egyptian life and death. This area has been in use for over 5,000 years and sits close to Memphis, which was once Egypt's capital and a hub for religion and government. So, it's not surprising that kings, nobles, and top officials wanted to be buried there. Some of the oldest tombs in Saqqara go back to Egypt's early dynastic period. Back then, tombs were made with mud bricks and called mastabas. One of the standout structures from that time is the Step Pyramid of Djoser, built around 2686 BC. Designed by Imhotep, this pyramid was the first big structure made entirely out of stone, setting a new trend in Egyptian architecture. By the Old Kingdom, around 2686 to 281 BC, more pyramids and tombs were popping up for pharaohs and their officials. A famous one is the Pyramid of Unas, known for having the oldest pyramid texts. The tombs of high-ranking officials like Khnumjadef and Mary, which have been uncovered in recent digs, are decorated with everyday scenes and show off the amazing skill of ancient Egyptian artists. Saqqara didn't lose its importance even in the New Kingdom when pharaohs were buried in the Valley of the Kings. Many officials kept choosing Saqqara, and their tombs from this time are unique, often filled with detailed decorations and inscriptions. Saqqara's use as a cemetery stretched over different periods, from the Middle Kingdom to the Late Period, so it has tombs spanning thousands of years. 3. Ancient Mayan city. The recent discovery of an ancient Maya city named Valeriana in southeastern Campeche, Mexico, has given us a lot more to think about when it comes to the Maya civilization and its reach. This discovery was made using LiDAR, a type of technology that involves shooting lasers from an aircraft to map out the ground below. It's especially useful in places with thick forests because it can reveal hidden structures that we'd never see from the ground. The LiDAR data for this discovery was actually collected back in 2013 during a forest survey by the Nature Conservancy of Mexico, but archaeologists only recently got around to analyzing it. Valeriana is tucked away in a dense forest area of eastern Campeche, an area not very well explored by archaeologists. Although it's only a quick 15-minute walk from a major highway near the town of Dos Lagunas, the jungle cover kept it hidden for all this time. Until now, nobody knew there was an ancient city right there. The size of Valeriana is impressive. It's about as big as Edinburgh, Scotland. The city has all the features you'd expect in a classic Maya settlement: temple pyramids, palaces, big open plazas, reservoirs, dams, and a ceremonial road that connects different parts of the city. There are also residential areas, gardens, terraces for farming, defensive walls, and even a ball court. One unique feature is a structure built alongside a sinkhole, which isn't something you see much in Mesoamerican sites. It's estimated that at its peak, Valeriana might have been home to 30,000 to 50,000 people, making it one of the largest Maya cities, second only in density to Calakmul, the biggest Maya city known in Latin America. This shows just how populated and well-organized Maya cities could be. 4. Scrolls in the Cave of Horror. The recent discovery of ancient biblical scroll fragments in the Cave of Horror in the Judean desert, Israel, is an important find that gives us new insights into Jewish history and how biblical texts were preserved. This cave is located in the Nahal Haver Canyon and has been known to archaeologists since 1953. In a recent dig by the Israel Antiquities Authority, a bunch of new fragments from a nearly 2,000-year-old biblical scroll was found in this cave. These fragments are written in Greek and include passages from the books of Zechariah and Nahum, which are part of the Hebrew Bible's book of the 12 minor prophets. This is exciting because it's the first time in 60 years that biblical scroll fragments have been discovered through proper archaeological work, instead of being looted or found by accident. These scroll fragments are important not just because they're old, but also because of the context in which they were found. They were likely hidden in the cave by Jewish rebels trying to keep them safe from the Romans during the revolt. Some of the texts contain verses that talk about truth and justice, giving us a glimpse into the values and lives of the people who stashed these scrolls away. 5. 3,000-year-old Egyptian city. The discovery of a 3,000-year-old Egyptian city called the Lost Golden City, or Rise of Aten, is one of the biggest archaeological finds in a long time, rivaling even the discovery of Tutankhamun's tomb. This city was found near Luxor, on the western side of the Nile River, not far from the Valley of the Kings and other famous ancient sites like the Colossi of Memnon and the Ramesseum. The dig started in September 2020, led by the well-known Egyptologist Dr. Zahi Hawass. At first, the team was just trying to find a mortuary temple for King Tutankhamun, but they ended up uncovering something much bigger and more important. The city goes back to the reign of Amenhotep III, who ruled from 1391 to 1353 BC during ancient Egypt's 18th dynasty. This time was known for its wealth and cultural achievements. Even after Amenhotep III died, the city continued to be used by later pharaohs, including Tutankhamun and I. The Lost Golden City is said to be the largest ancient city ever found in Egypt, with mud brick walls that are still standing strong, some reaching nearly 10 feet high. The city has different neighborhoods, including places for administration and a bakery, as well as residential areas. What's really remarkable is how well preserved the city is, with rooms filled with everyday tools and items. As the excavation went on, they found tons of cool artifacts that give us insight into what life was like for ancient Egyptians back then. There are colorful pottery pieces and jewelry that show off the art and wealth of the time. They also found a lot of scarab beetle amulets, which were popular in ancient Egyptian culture. Many of the mud bricks have seals from Amenhotep III, linking the city directly to him. There are also hieroglyphs on wine vessels and other containers, which help tell the story of the city and its people. Plus, the discovery of the bakery and administrative areas shows how the city was organized and its economy functioned. 6. The million-year-old mammoth. Finding million-year-old mammoth DNA in northeastern Siberia is a huge deal that has really changed what we know about how these animals evolved, moved around, and adapted to their environments. The remains were discovered in the frozen ground, specifically near the Krestovka, Adicha, and Chukotka rivers. The super cold climate in this area has helped keep the ancient DNA well preserved, making it possible for scientists to extract and sequence this really old genetic material. The study looked at 3 different mammoth specimens, each with its own age. The Krestovka mammoth is about 1.65 million years old. The Adichia is around 1.34 million years old, and the Chukotia is about 870,000 years old. Researchers got the DNA from the molars of these mammoths, which were in great shape thanks to the permafrost. Even though DNA usually breaks down over time, the scientists managed to sequence a lot of it. 7. New species of human. The discovery of Homo floresiensis, or the hobbits from Flores, is a big deal in archaeology. They were first found in 2003 in a cave on the island of Flores in Indonesia by a team led by Mike Morwood and Thomas Sutigna. These little humans were only about 3 feet 7 inches tall and weighed around 55 to 66 pounds. They had small brains like some of our early ancestors, but made advanced tools. There's still some debate about where they came from. One idea is that they evolved from Homo erectus that got stuck on Flores and shrank in size over time. They used stone tools for a long time and lived alongside giant animals like stegodons and Komodo dragons. Unfortunately, they went extinct around 50,000 years ago, possibly due to volcanic eruptions or competition with modern humans. It's a wild story that shows just how diverse our ancestors were. 8. The wreckage of Erebus and Terror. The wrecks of HMS Erebus and HMS Terror were found in the Canadian Arctic and are a huge deal for understanding the tragic Franklin expedition from 1845 to 1848. Led by Captain Sir John Franklin, the expedition aimed to find a route through the Northwest Passage. The 2 ships were among the best of their time, designed for polar exploration with steam engines and heated interiors. After setting sail, the ships got trapped in ice, and the crew eventually abandoned them, trying to make it to safety, but sadly, none of the 129 crew members survived. The wrecks were discovered in 2014 and 2016, thanks to a team effort that included Parks Canada and Inuit communities. The artifacts found at the sites, like guns, dinner plates, and clothing, give us a peek into the lives of the crew. 9. Mummification Workshop. The discovery of ancient mummification workshops at the Saqqara necropolis in Egypt is a big find that helps us understand how the ancient Egyptians went about mummifying their dead. This site is just outside Cairo and has a ton of archaeological treasures, including tombs and temples. The archaeologists found 2 workshops, one for mummifying humans and another for sacred animals. These date back to between 380 BC and 30 BC. The human workshop is a rectangular building with several rooms, each containing stone beds where bodies were placed during mummification. They also found clay pots, canopic jars for organs, and tools for the whole process. The beds even had gutters to catch fluids, showing just how detailed the process was. The animal workshop was dedicated to mummifying animals like cats, which were sacred to the cat goddess Bastet. 10. Intact coffins in Egypt. The discovery of 30 intact ancient coffins in Luxor, Egypt, has really grabbed people's attention for its historical importance. These coffins were found in the Asasif Cemetery, which is known for its rich archaeological treasures and is part of the larger Theban necropolis. Dating back to the 10th century BC during the 22nd Pharaonic dynasty, these coffins give us a peek into the funerary practices of that time. They are in fantastic condition, with bright colors and clear inscriptions still visible. Found stacked in 2 rows, it looks like a priest hid them away to protect them from looters, and they were still sealed just as the ancient Egyptians left them. Inside each coffin, there's a mummy, which includes men, women, and children. The mummies were wrapped in cloth, and their genders were identified by the position of their hands. The coffins are beautifully decorated with colorful designs, patterns, and hieroglyphics. 11. Human footprints in New Mexico. The discovery of human footprints in White Sands National Park, New Mexico, was a pretty crazy discovery for scientists. These footprints were found in the Tularosa Basin, specifically at what used to be an ancient lakebed called Lake Otero. Back then, this area was lush and green, filled with grasslands and plants, which is quite different from the dry desert it is today. Dating these footprints is pretty amazing. They're believed to be between 21,000 and 23,000 years old, making them some of the oldest known human footprints in the Americas. Scientists initially used radiocarbon dating on seeds found in the same layers, but had to check their work due to concerns about contamination. They then used other methods like dating pollen and measuring quartz grains to confirm the age. The footprints are well preserved and show a lot of detail, like heel shapes and toe pads. They suggest that teenagers and kids did a lot of the walking, while adults took on skilled tasks. One set of prints shows a person walking with a small child, and others hint at human hunters tracking a giant sloth. 12. Lemur Graveyard. Madagascar is one of the world's most unusual places, filled with animals that don't live anywhere else. But over 2,000 years ago, when people first arrived, things started to change fast. Back then, Madagascar was home to some really massive animals, giant tortoises and enormous elephant birds. Sadly, those giants have been gone for a long time. Scientists still don't know exactly what made these big creatures disappear, but in 2014, paleontologists exploring a place called Aran Cave found some incredible fossils of those long-lost animals. The cave, which is 82 feet underwater, turned out to be packed with the bones of extinct giants and even some animals that are still alive today. One of the coolest finds? The bones of giant lemurs that were once as big as gorillas. No one is quite sure how all these bones ended up underwater. It's possible that water currents carried them down there, and they stayed undisturbed for ages until they slowly became fossils. 13. Roman swords. In the Judean desert, archaeologists recently found a hidden stash of Roman weapons in a cave, giving us a closer look at life in the region during Roman times. The discovery happened in the Ain Nature Reserve as part of a project by the Israel Antiquities Authority to explore and protect caves in the area. The team was actually looking for ancient Hebrew writing when they stumbled on this incredible find. Inside the cave, they found 4 Roman swords and a spearhead, all about 1,900 years old. 3 of the swords are Roman spatha swords, around 60 to 65 centimeters long, and one shorter sword has a unique ringed pommel. There's also a spearhead, likely from a Roman pilum, which was a throwing spear. Amazingly, 3 of the swords were still in their wooden scabbards, and some leather and metal details on the handles were intact too. It's possible these weapons were hidden by Judean rebels during the Bar Kokhba revolt, maybe taken from Roman soldiers as trophies. 14. Child and llama. Sacrifice. In many ancient cultures, child and animal sacrifices were seen as ways to keep the gods happy, or to protect the community. In the Near East, for example, the people of Carthage are believed to have sacrificed children during tough times to please their gods. In the Bible, child sacrifice is strongly condemned, especially in connection with the worship of a god named Molech, though some Israelites still practiced it. In the pre-Columbian Americas, the Aztecs and Incas also sacrificed children in different ways. The Aztecs offered children to Tlaloc, the rain god, hoping their tears would bring rain. The Incas, during a ritual called Chapac Hucha, chose healthy, perfect children as sacrifices for major events or during hard times. And in Peru, the Chimu people sacrificed many children and llamas during extreme weather events, likely to calm the gods. 15. Ruins of ancient Nero's theater. The discovery of Nero's theater. Ruins in Rome gives us a fresh look at life during Emperor Nero's rule. Found in the garden of the Palazzo della Rovere near St. Peter's Square, the ruins were uncovered during renovations for a new Four Seasons hotel. Built around 5468 CE, this private theater was part of Nero's lavish Domus Aurea complex, and writers like Pliny and Tacitus once described it. The site revealed Roman-style architecture, with marble columns, gold leaf walls, and a design typical of grand theaters. Archaeologists also found colored glass goblets, pottery, musical instruments, and personal items, all adding a bit of color to our view of ancient Roman culture and luxury. 16. Ancient artwork of the Colombian Amazon. The ancient artwork at Cerro Azul in Colombia's Amazon region is an incredible find, offering a window into the lives and beliefs of early people around 12,500 years ago. First documented in the 1920s, serious research was delayed due to the area's remoteness and conflicts. Only after a peace treaty in 2016 could researchers fully explore it. The rock art includes vibrant paintings of animals like turtles, deer, monkeys, and birds, revealing what these early inhabitants hunted and interacted with. 17. prehistoric settlement in the Czech Republic. A prehistoric settlement from about 7,000 years ago was recently found near Kutná Hora in the Czech Republic, giving us a peek into the lives of Europe's early farmers. Named Dobřin, this settlement was discovered in spring 2024 during routine digs. Located between two streams, it was a great spot for early farming due to easy access to water and fertile soil. The site includes well-preserved floor plans of 4 longhouses that would have been made from wood, measuring up to 20 meters long. Though the wooden structures are gone, the stone foundations and post holes give a clear idea of the layout. 18. Akrotiri on Santorini. Akrotiri on Santorini in Greece is an ancient site that shows what life was like for the Minoans during the Bronze Age. People have lived there since around 4500 BC, starting as a small fishing and farming village. Over time, it grew into an important center for copper trading, thanks to its great location along key sailing routes. By around 1600 BC, Akrotiri had become a bustling port town, with close ties to the Minoan civilization on Crete. The city was advanced for its time, with multi-story buildings, paved streets, and a drainage system, things you'd expect in a much later era. What makes Akrotiri especially amazing are its colorful frescoes showing nature scenes, rituals, and daily life, giving us a peek into Minoan culture. When a massive volcanic eruption hit around 1600 BC, it buried the town in ash, preserving everything beautifully, just like Pompeii. This disaster actually kept Akrotiri frozen in time. 19. Oldest painting ever. The search for the oldest known paintings has led to some pretty exciting finds in caves around the world. In Indonesia, specifically in the Maros Pangkep region of Sulawesi, there's a cave called Leang Karampuang that has a painting showing 3 human-bird hybrids and a big wild pig, likely from a hunting scene. This artwork is at least 51,200 years old, making it the oldest example of storytelling in art. In Spain, the El Castillo cave has a red disc painting that's about 40,800 years old. This discovery, along with others like Chauvet Cave in France, used to be thought of as some of the oldest art, but the Indonesian finds have changed that. The dating methods used, like uranium series dating, help scientists figure out how old these paintings really are. 20. Homo naledi. Homo naledi is a newly discovered extinct species of our ancient relatives, found in the Rising Star cave system in South Africa. A team of cavers stumbled upon this hidden chamber, called the Dinaledi Chamber, in 2013, which is deep within the caves and hard to reach. These early humans had a mix of old and modern features. They were small and had body sizes similar to some human populations today, but their brains were much smaller, like those of earlier species. Their hands and feet looked a lot like ours, showing they could walk and run well, but their upper bodies resembled older hominins. What's really surprising is that the Homo naledi fossils are between 236,000 and 335,000 years old, which is young for such primitive traits. Plus, evidence suggests they might have buried their dead, hinting at some pretty complex behavior. Do you think there are other archaeological finds no one's discovered yet? Will we ever find out the real truth about these ancient finds?